Good afternoon and welcome to the September 2nd edition of Success by Association Live. This issue is sponsored by Caesars Entertainment. We thank them for their steadfast support of AENC. Today's article is written by Scott Ozer and is titled How One Association Maintained Sponsor and Exhibit Dollars with Events Going Viral. It was April 2020, and like many associations, the Society for Vascular Ultrasound, SVU, had made the difficult decision to turn their face-to-face annual conference and marketplace into a virtual event. The event was originally scheduled to be held in New Orleans in August, but with all the risks involved with COVID-19, the right decision to make was to change the event to virtual. This decision had impact across all areas of the event, but the one particular item that I needed to was how to generate value for sponsors and exhibitors. Start with what you know. As a part of the team organizing the event, I had a lot of information. I knew what software platforms we were going to use for the virtual event. I knew what sponsors and exhibitors had already committed to for the face-to-face event and what money we already had received. I knew why the large majority of the sponsors and exhibitors chose to participate in the face-to-face event and what their goals were. All of this was very important information to dive into as it influenced the type of opportunities that we considered for the virtual event. Key learnings. 1. Identify your major sponsors and spend most of the time making sure their needs are met. 2. Understand what has already been committed and what dollars are already in the bank to determine if this new sales effort or more of a retention rollover to the virtual event effort. Your tone and communication style should change based on your current state of affairs. Have detailed conversations with your software technology partners to understand what they offer that will provide value to the sponsors and exhibitors. You can only offer that which is available to your sponsors and exhibitors, so knowing this up front is critical. Create your list of opportunities. In the case of SVU, we were fortunate to have around 80% of what was budgeted already contracted. That meant my main job was to convince those contracted companies that the new virtual event would provide the same, if not greater, value than they had received at the face-to-face event. This required a fantastic list of new virtual opportunities. In order to develop this list, I did a lot of research and a lot of listening. I participated in so many webinars my computer got tired, and so did my eyes. But it was worth the time I invested. Between the ideas I discovered and my own creativity, I was able to come up with a great list of options. At this time, they were simply options as I needed to see what we could implement and, most importantly, what the companies would find valuable. I used the list of benefits that companies would have received for the face-to-face event as a guide of sorts. These offerings were originally purchased for a reason, so it made sense to try and replicate and enhance those benefits for the virtual event. Key learnings. Don't be afraid to borrow other people's ideas and tweak them to fit your situation. 2. Don't limit your offerings at the start. Instead, develop a list with as many possible so you don't miss out on anything that might prove valuable. You don't have to offer all of them, but it is better to think creatively as you know what might be a good fit. Use the benefits of the offerings that were already purchased to develop some substitutes when going virtual. Confirm the opportunities. Once the expansive list of potential opportunities was created, we needed to make sure we had the tools to implement them. For the most part, the ideas we came up with were possible through our current vendor. There were a few items such as sponsor retargeting that were not, so we had to do a cost-benefit analysis before deciding to outsource. The rationale for figuring out what we could actually offer to sponsors before talking to those who were already committed was making sure our offerings were something we could deliver on. If not, I felt that would only undermine my credibility and diminish the value of the conversation and communication. During all sponsorship conversations, I asked if there was anything else they would like for me to consider. I truly want to be a we are in this together conversation, which the sponsors appreciated. Key learnings. 1. It's critical to understand when your platform will be ready to use and the true functionality it will have. Technology is our friend until it isn't. When commitments are made to people with timelines attached, they don't want to hear about technological delays. 2. Sponsors are going to have a lot of questions, so be prepared as possible to answer them. This is just as new for them as it is for you, and they will look for you to be the expert on what is being delivered. If you can provide the right value, you can price offerings the same for a virtual event as you can for a face-to-face event. Communicate and sell. Based on the conversations with our tech vendor and our primary sponsors, I was able to finalize our list of offerings. It was finally time to reach out to sponsors and exhibitors to get them to recommit for the virtual conference. Even though I had already talked to many of them while we were coming up with our list of offerings, There were still a ton of questions. Many wanted to know what their presents would look like. I realized that I hadn't given them anything that showed what they would receive. Once some examples of their presents were developed in conjunction with our partners, the conversations went a lot smoother. Key learnings. Make it easy for sponsors and exhibitors to submit deliverables. They may be delivering things to you that they've never had before, so it's helpful to create a simple way for them to know what is due, when, and in what format. 2, be prepared to show prospects what they're going to receive. Even though it's a virtual event, there are still ways to show them their presents. 3, develop a plan on how you will provide more value to high-level sponsors and exhibitors than the lower-level ones. In the virtual world, this can be a bit more challenging, but equally as important. At the time of writing this article, I'm still in the middle of selling sponsorships and exhibits for the SVU Virtual Conference and Marketplace. Portions of the sales effort, primarily virtual exhibit sales, have started off slowly. I'm confident that we are offering a lot of value and took the right steps to be successful. The good news is that the conversations continue to occur and we have plenty of time to sell, so I predict we will meet or exceed the revised budget. That concludes our article. We hope you have a great day.